This was more than 10 years ago. I was a high school student at the time. In order to perform surgery to remove a benign tumor, hospitalized for 2 to 3 weeks. It happened on the first day of hospitalization. Did a lot of checks on the first day. I checked my body and I was exhausted. When lying in a hospital bed, I was told that 9 o'clock is when the lights go out. For me as a young man, can you sleep at that point in time? As a result, I didn't expect to fall asleep as soon as the lights were turned off. I lived in a double room at the time. My bed is near the corridor. I do not remember. What time did you wake up? Suddenly I was by the window. I was awakened by the sound of talking from that bed. I thought it wouldn't be a ghost, right? I want to see how the ghost looks. Think about it now. The idea at that time was really stupid. I listened carefully to the sound from that bed for a while. It seems to be the sound of TV. Sounds like a talk show on a certain channel. But I can't hear the content of the conversation. The voice was like a whispering conversation. Very harsh. I covered my ears and turned around to keep sleeping like this. But I was born to be a nocturnal person. Going to bed from 9 o'clock is really a disaster. I won't be sleepy at all after waking up. Plus the noise. I really can't rest at all. I was thinking, do you want to tell the nurse? Still, I just opened the curtains and complained. Although I feel very upset. But I don't want to start from the first day of hospitalization. Just cause trouble. When the time comes, I will be labeled as a problem girl. That's not good. So I made up my mind. Bear with me for a day today. If this is still the case in the future, I'll complain. Although I have made up my mind. But the nasty things are still annoying after all. The noise is really unbearable. So I sighed deliberately, pretending to be. See if the other party will understand my mood as a result. At that moment, there was a burst of laughter on the bed next to him. I thought to myself, I can still laugh. I subconsciously want to complain. Turn around and stare at the bed by the window. Between me and the next bed, there is a curtain like a dividing line. I saw the TV lights flashing. The curtains reveal the shadow of the person in the next bed. He stood up from the bed. You can see from under the curtains. That person. I'm putting on those red to a little black slippers. I thought he was going to the toilet. Unexpectedly, after he finished wearing slippers, walked directly in the direction of my side. He slowly dragged his feet in the same way as sliding. Go forward. He kept walking. Then he ran into the curtain. The curtain was attached to that person all of a sudden. The degree of unevenness through the curtains, it can be completely seen, is the shape of a person. I was so scared by his strange behavior that I didn't dare to move. The whole person is also bound by fear. Can't even scream. I looked up at the curtain, thinking in my head not to come any further. Just finished thinking about it. That person stopped moving forward. But suddenly he straightened his hands. Slowly lifted up. The curtains just hang on those hands like this. Pull up together. I saw a nightgown with red dots, gradually exposed from the place below. As the curtains are drawn higher and higher, the bright red apron on the pajamas was also exposed. His pair of red to black slippers. Red polka dot pajamas. Plus the red apron. It's all the color of blood. It's disgusting enough. After he slowly raised his hand, slowly walked towards me again. I was so scared that my heart was about to jump out. I yelled and passed out. When I woke up the next morning, I found myself in another room, in a strange personal ward. The moment you wake up, I immediately pressed the pager. After the nurse came to the room, I cried to the nurse in spite of everything. Told the nurse what I experienced last night. The nurse changed the room for me after listening. From that day on, the 2-person room I used to live in moved to a 6-person room with more people. Take sleeping pills to sleep at night. Noisy ants in the ward during the day. Makes me feel a lot at ease. Therefore, I was also hospitalized smoothly for treatment. I don't know until now what happened to the bed next to me at the time. But I thought about it. The nurse who listened to me carefully, he didn't comfort me. Instead, he immediately changed rooms for me with a serious face. Maybe he must know something inside. At it again. The hospital bed next to me is indeed occupied. But he is wearing ordinary pajamas. It's the kind with tops and trousers. Not wearing a one-piece nightgown. And he doesn't have an apron. I thought about it later. The old lady sleeping in that bed must be a very powerful person, because he dared to sleep there. Also, I think everyone who has been in the hospital knows. The curtains in the ward are not so thin curtains. TV light. It's unlikely to be strong enough to pass through the curtains. So, the shadow I saw at that time, what exactly is it? When I was hospitalized with a foot injury, met one in the hospital, also hospitalized. A guy about the same age as me. We became good friends. One day after the lights went out, he and I are smoking in the smoking area. He said, I really don't want to go back to the room. I have a different ward from that guy. So I asked him in the ward, is there anyone who doesn't get along? He told me no. It's just that there is an annoying old man. I agreed. It's true that some old people are difficult to get along with. He frowned and said, actually not what you think. If the other party is a living old man, it doesn't matter how difficult it is to get along. I said in a daze. What do you mean? That guy started telling me what happened to him. One day after the lights went out, I want to go back to the ward from the smoking room. After walking to the corridor in front of the ward, in front of the dim corridor, I saw an old man standing in a daze in the distance. I thought it might be Alzheimer's. I think it's a bit scary and a bit in the way. When I walked not far from Grandpa, I told Grandpa, sorry, lend me a pass. I want to go. Although he said that, he didn't react. I said it many times. Grandpa is still unmoved. I thought I was ignored, so I was a little angry. I raised my voice a little and said to him, get out of the way. But he still ignored me. I have no choice. Can only pass by force. So I used my shoulders to squeeze over a little bit. But it feels like there is no resistance. I passed without even touching him. I think strange, that kind of distance. It will definitely collide with him. Why don't you feel it at all? I kept going while thinking. Then I looked back. That old man, looking at me with unfocused eyes. There is no expression on the old man's face. Pale face. I thought to myself, that's not an ordinary old man. I hurriedly ran to my bed with the runner. Get into the bed. Shaking all night. In the morning, when the nurse came to take the temperature, I asked the nurse, here, there is an old man, Right then the nurse said embarrassedly, "Ah, did you see it? Are you the kind of person who can see?" Listen to what the nurse said. "I probably know what's going on. It would be great if it ended here. But things are getting more and more terrifying. Just last night, I woke up suddenly and wanted to go to the toilet. As soon as I got up, I saw the old man standing by my bed. I didn't even dare to pee after seeing it. Hide directly in the quilt until morning. Would rather pee on the bed. I don't want to see the old man again." After he put out the cigarette, he sighed and said, "The thought of going back to the ward later. May meet the old man again. I don't want to go back to the ward anymore." After listening to what he said, I told him, "Anyway, you can pile a mountain of salt in the dish for the time being. Put it in the ward. Go to sleep after you get it done." After speaking, I accompanied him to his ward. When in the hallway, I asked him if the old man was in the hallway. He told me that he was not in the corridor. Came to the door of his ward. I looked in from the door. Is a room for 6 people. His bed is in the innermost, by the window. He told me that if the old man is in there, he will stand by the bed. Hear what he said. An imaginary picture appeared in my head. Feeling very uncomfortable. He said that the old man might not show up today, right? I can only tell him. Anyway, let's pile up the salt mountain first. Go to sleep after you get it done. After I helped him put the salt mountain in the dish, I went back to my ward. The next morning, I'm smoking in the smoking room. The guy walked over pale. As soon as he spoke, he said that's terrible. According to him, when he went to bed last night, he put the small plate of yinchen on the pillow. He can't sleep. Finally fell asleep. As a result, I had a dream. In a dream he stood in a room, in front of the gate of an old house with thatched roof. Then he walked into the house. It's a big soil room. The so-called soil room. It is a transition zone between outdoor and indoor. In Japan, it is a design of an ancient house. He walked to the steps. There are rooms on the left and right sides. On one side is a room with tatami mats. The door is closed on the other side. He walked up and opened the sliding door that closed the door and walked forward. After entering, it is a room separated by sliding doors on all sides. He opened the sliding door directly in front and walked inside. The result is a room with sliding doors on all sides. He chose to go ahead again. Came to a room with a big Buddha shrine. The left and right hands of the room are paper sliding doors. Because he doesn't like the left. So I want to go to the right to see. Just when he was about to walk to the right, strange things happen. He wants to go to the right anyway. But the body seems to be pulled. Instead, keep moving to the left. He shouted to the right. But he was still sucked hard to the left. Can't help it. He had to open the sliding door on the left. Inside the sliding door is a very bright place. After he saw the situation inside, relieved, go straight out to the left. Left that room. At this time, he heard a rough voice. Whispered fiercely in his ear. Damn it! Failed and messed up. Then he woke up. Woke up to find that it was already morning. After he got up, see the small plate with salt. The salt inside has melted into a gelatinous mass. He took a sip and said, "If I was in a dream, if you successfully walk to the room on the right, what will I become?" After listening to what he said, I can't say anything. Goosebumps all over my body. That was in the summer of my 3rd year of college. I will never forget. At that time, I worked several jobs at the same time. One of them is an izakaya near the school. Because there are many classmates in the same school. All work there. So they must have become my good friends. We often play together. 2 of them have a very good relationship with me. They are Alex and Kevin. Once they came to my house for a drink. Emily suddenly said, "Do you want to take a risk in a supernatural place?" I heard what my friends in the same department told me. Very famous locally. It is said that it is a ghost place that you will definitely encounter. We were a little drunk at the time. If you go out for a walk, it will help us wake up. So Alex and I and Alex's girlfriend Olivia and Emily, the 4 of us decided to go and have a look. I'm with Alex and Olivia. It's a light vehicle that drives Olivia. Emily rides an electric bike. After getting there, we parked at the main entrance of the hospital. Took a picture with the flashlight I brought. It was a hospital that had become a ruin. The hospital is a white 3-story building. The walls of the building are peeling off. Broken glass windows. Graffiti everywhere. We joked. Encounter a runaway clan in a place like this. Maybe more terrifying than encountering a ghost. What I saw at the beginning after walking in. It's the reception desk in the lobby. There are files and things scattered in the front desk. The side is filled with all kinds of garbage and bottles. There is a walkway on the left and right of the reception desk. We used lights to illuminate the walkways on the left and right sides. On the left is a clinic room by room. On the right is the words canteen and shop. Let's go to the left. There are clinics on both sides of the aisle. There is a sign in every room. We walked into the clinic of internal medicine. I found that it was also a mess inside. It seems that there are still some medical equipment left. But nothing terrible happened. So we left there disappointed. After returning to the hall, there is a staircase leading to the 2nd floor in front. We decided to go up and have a look. When we got to the 2nd floor, we found that the 2nd floor was very clean. No graffiti and no garbage. Picked up the flashlight and took a picture of the passages on the left and right sides. Both sides seem to be inpatient rooms. We choose the aisle on the right. Move towards the innermost room. In the room, except for 4 beds and a clock hanging on the wall, there is nothing unusual. We looked into each room one after another. I don't know how many rooms I saw. I suddenly discovered something. That's in the room I just saw. All clocks stop at 2 o'clock. I looked at my watch. The pointer also points to 2 o'clock sharp. Suddenly I have a hairy feeling. I told everyone about it. Everyone thinks it's a coincidence. So I don't want to care about me at all. Then, we continued to walk to the other rooms inside. Sure enough, it's really just like what I found. The clocks in all rooms stopped at 2 o'clock. We started to feel a little scared at that time. So everyone decided to go back. At this moment, from the depths of the other end, there was an obvious click, click, click sound. That voice is very clear. Sounds like high heels. Or the sound of boots stepping on the tiles. We looked at each other. Then immediately started to run away. I was running. Squinting at the clock in each room. Every clock is only like 2 o'clock. Ran down the stairs and rushed out of the hospital. We breathed a sigh of relief. but the footsteps didn't stop. Instead, it gradually became louder and louder. The voice seemed to be echoing in my mind. Footsteps have been approaching. We hurried to the car. When we got in the car and started the car, I feel the car. It's like something jumped up. Shook a bit. I shouted to Alex, hurry up. Alex saw him at a very fast speed. Drove out of the hospital parking lot. At this time I am very worried about Emily, because he rides an electric car alone. After the car drove onto the road, Emily's electric car ride over quickly from the side of our car. I saw Emily's figure right in front of me. I breathed a sigh of relief. Everyone calmed down. I thought it should be okay. So Alex slowed down. But Emily didn't slow down at all. Rushed forward desperately. As a result, a blink of an eye, he fell off the car. Let's quickly stop and get off to check. It's just a scratch. I took off his helmet. Look at his pale face. He told me right away. When I just passed by our car, he saw it. In the back of our car, attached to a woman with long hair. I looked back at the car. There is nothing behind the car. I comforted Emily. Then help Emily to the car. Change me to ride an electric car. That night. Because everyone is scared. Dare not be alone. So I live in my house. In the morning, after everyone calmed down, they went home separately. At this time I noticed. The light of the voice message on the phone at home is flashing. So I press the button easily. The phone voice starts to play the message content. You have a message. Time 2 o'clock in the morning. Then the sound of noise interference came from the phone. It is also mixed with what I heard yesterday. The sound of footsteps in high heels. At this moment, all the fear arises spontaneously. Suddenly, all the sounds on the phone disappeared in an instant. Become very quiet. After a few seconds, a woman said in a hoarse voice, "I'm going to kill you." After I heard this sentence, the whole person is particularly uncomfortable. The body keeps shaking. I feel that the room is full of that woman. A deafening and terrifying hoarse sound. Just when I was going to cut off the message, the phone rang suddenly. I picked up the handset tremblingly. On the other end of the phone is Emily's voice. Emily said to me in a trembling voice, "I just found out when I got home. There is a terrifying voice message on my home phone." At that time, a woman's voice said she was going to kill us. But that message, it's from your house. When I was in junior high school, me and 5 friends including me, let's go on an adventure in an abandoned local hospital together. When at the entrance on the first floor, already feel a nasty gloomy atmosphere. But you also know, children at this age, always hot-blooded and brave. So I said, "It feels nothing." Very calm. Right after listening to what I said, everyone agreed. After entering the hospital, we started from the first floor and walked layer by layer. All the rooms have been explored. Nothing happened. That's it. We walked all the way upstairs. After coming to the roof, someone proposed to take a commemorative photo on the roof. So everyone posed and prepared to take pictures. At this moment, the shutter of the digital camera can't be pressed down, because of something weird at the time. I am not scared. On the contrary, I'm a little excited. Later, after trying for a long time, I finally took a picture. When we re-looked at that photo, everyone was taken aback. Because we found that in the photo, enter the door of the roof, standing a woman in white clothes. Everyone was scared dumb. All kinds of screaming. Ran away in a panic. Later, because my friend's father was a psychic, so I asked my friend's father, help confirm the photo. After my friend's father finished reading the photos, it feels a bit bad. So he helped all of us perform a spirit removal ceremony, and warned us not to go to that place again. If you go there again and get found by that thing, something might happen. Everyone was safe after that. And I also went to high school smoothly. Since then, I don't go to any supernatural places to explore anymore. Living a peaceful life. Until one day, there is one in the school. The senior who has a better relationship with me told me and friends want to explore an abandoned hospital. Are you a local over there? I know what the senior said is the place we went to before. So my advice to seniors is, it's better not to go anywhere. But the seniors didn't seem to care about it. He told me that, it seems to be a terrifying place. Me and friends, I have made an appointment to go there for an adventure tomorrow night. After speaking, the senior left. I met that senior at school a few days later. Senior told me, we went to the abandoned hospital that day. I went around from the first floor to the roof. Then I went to the basement to see. Nothing happened. It's not scary at all. The moment I finished listening to the senior, my whole body is hairy. Constant cold sweat. Because that abandoned hospital, there is no basement at all.